And one more makes 10. One day, Herbie the happy hamster was walking home from the park. Humming a happy tune, he waved to his neighbours as he passed by. I'm lucky to be living in such a friendly neighbourhood, Herbie thought. I think I'll have a party and invite all my neighbours, he said to himself. The next morning, Herbie called everyone who lived in his neighbourhood. I'm having a party tomorrow afternoon, Herbie said to each one. Will you come? All his neighbours said they'd be glad to come. Let's see, how many guests will there be? Herbie asked himself, counting on his fingers. Emmy, that's 1. Vinny, that's 2. Justin is 3. Fenton makes 4. Lizzie 5. Delilah 6. Albert 7. Gertie 8. Connie 9, and Perry makes 10. Later that morning, Herbie went to the AlphaPet party store and bought 10 of everything. 10 pointy party hats, 10 red cups, 10 striped napkins, 10 yellow spoons, 10 big balloons, 10 flowered plates. When he was finished shopping, Herbie picked up his packages and went to buy a cake. Then he hurried home. When Herbie came home, he started preparing for the party. I want everything to be absolutely perfect for tomorrow, he thought. So Herbie swept the floors, wiped the shelves and polished the table. But when he dusted the chairs, he noticed they were all scratched. These chairs could use some fixing up, he said. So Herbie carried the chairs out to the garage. Then he took out his paint and brushes and started to paint them. It was evening by the time all 10 chairs were painted. Herbie left them in the garage to dry and went to bed. I can't wait for tomorrow, he thought to himself. We'll have the best party ever. Early next morning, Herbie decorated his dining room with balloons. Then he set the table. Now all I need are the chairs, he thought. So he went out to the garage to get them. But when Herbie picked up the first chair, squish! His hands got stuck. Oh no, he cried. The paint is still wet. Now what will I do? Everybody will be here soon and there's no place for them to sit. Where can I possibly get 10 chairs? Then Herbie had an idea. I know, maybe my good neighbours can help me, he said with a smile. Herbie made a checklist of all 10 of his neighbours. Now if everybody lends me 1 chair, I'll have just enough, he said. Herbie hung his checklist on the side of his pickup truck, jumped in and drove to Emmy the exaggerating elephant's house. When Emmy came to the door, Herbie explained what happened. Will you lend me a chair for our party? He asked Emmy. Of course, said Emmy. She ran into her living room and returned with a fancy velvet armchair. This is my very best chair. How absolutely divine to have it to my party. This is my biggest chair. This is my very biggest and best chair. How absolutely divine to have it at the party, she said. Herbie thanked Emmy, put the chair on his truck, checked Emmy's name off the list. That's 1 chair, Herbie said. He waved goodbye and drove to Vinny the vocal vulture's house. Vinny was looking out of the window as Herbie drove up. Hi, Vinny, Herbie called to him. I need to borrow a chair. Will you help me? A chair, said Vinny. It will give me the greatest pleasure to help you. Yes, indeed. That's what neighbours are for, to help each other. Why can I remember when? Vinny, I'll be glad to listen to your story another time, Herbie interrupted. But my party is this afternoon. Do you have a chair I can borrow? So Vinny brought a chair to Herbie and helped him load it onto the truck. Thank you, Vinny, said Herbie. Now I have 2 chairs. The next stop was Fenton the Fearful Frog's house. I need 10 chairs for my party, Herbie said. I already have 2. Will you lend me 1 more? I'll have 3. Well, I guess you can borrow my blue recliner, Fenton said, but please be careful not to tear it or get it dirty. Herbie promised to be especially careful and put it and put Fenton's chair in the truck. Now I have 3 chairs, he said to himself as he drove off. It was getting late, so Herbie rushed over to Justin the joking jackal's house. When Justin brought out a chair, he slapped Herbie on the back and said, "Looks like you're the chairman of the neighbourhood. Herbie, get it?" Justin laughed and laughed. Herbie chuckled as he picked up the chair and added it to the others. 3 chairs plus 1 more makes 4 chairs, he said. Next, Herbie drove across the street to Lizzie the lazy lamb's house and asked her if he could borrow a chair for the party. "You can borrow my rocking chair," she said, "but you'll have to move it yourself. It's too heavy for me." "No problem," said Herbie, and he carried Lizzie's chair down the steps and over to his truck. Herbie moved the 4 chairs together to make room for 1 more. Then he added Lizzie's chair. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I have 5 chairs, he said happily. That means I need only 5 more. Herbie's next stop was Delilah the demanding duck's house. She gave him a wicker chair. "Be sure you return it as soon as the party is over. It's my very favourite chair and a part of a set," she said. "Handle it with care, you hear?" Herbie promised to do everything Delilah asked and placed her chair to the next of her 5. "Now I have 6 chairs, he said, wiping his forehead. Albert the absent-minded alligator was sitting on his porch when Herbie drove up. "I saw you collecting chairs, Herbie," he said. "I had a yellow chair all ready for you, but now I don't know where it is." Herbie smiled. Herbie smiled. "I know where it is, Albert," he cried. "You're sitting on it." Albert got up and helped Herbie carry the yellow chair to the truck. 6 chairs and my yellow chair make 7 chairs, Albert said. Herbie thanked Albert and drove off. I wonder why Herbie needs all those chairs, Albert muttered. When Herbie arrived at Connie the cuddly cat's house, she gave him a big hello and a warm hug. "You can have my favourite seat," she said, and she gave Herbie a soft furry chair. "Thanks," Herbie said. "That makes 8. He looked at his list. "I need only 2 more chairs to make 10, he said, driving off. Herbie picked up another chair at Gertie the grungy goat's house. It didn't look much better than his own chairs before he tried to fix them, but at least it wasn't covered with wet paint. "I guess the chair could use a little fixing up," Gertie said, wiping off the dust with her skirt. "Never mind," Herbie said. "I'll clean it up a bit as soon as I've collected all the chairs I need." Herbie counted the chairs on his truck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then he loaded Gertie's chair. "There, that makes 9 chairs, he said, "but I still don't have enough." "How many more will you need?" asked Gertie. Just one more," Herbie called as he drove off. Finally, Herbie reached the last house. "Good morning, Herbie," called Perry the polite porcupine. "Can I help you?" "Yes," Herbie said. "I have 9 chairs for my party. Will you lend me 1 more?" "Of course, I'll be glad to," Perry said. If I give you 1 more, you'll have 10. 10 is all I need," Herbie said with a sigh of relief. Perry helped Herbie add the last chair to the 9 already on the truck. "Thank you very much," said Herbie. "You're quite welcome, I'm sure," said Perry as he waved goodbye. Slowly and carefully, Herbie drove back to his house. He unloaded the chairs and then 1 by 1 he carried them into his dining room. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Herbie counted. 10 chairs for my 10 guests. Soon the AlphaPets arrived at Herbie's house. When they were all seated, Herbie came in with a big, beautiful cake. There were 10 lit candles on it, 1 for each of his 10 guests. Herbie set the cake on the table and everybody helped blow out the candles. After Herbie served the cake, he went to sit down with his friends. "Oh no," Herbie cried as he looked around the room. "There's no place for me to sit. I need another chair." "No problem," called Justin. "We'll make you the best seat in the house." Justin showed the AlphaPets how to make a people pyramid. Then Herbie climbed over to their backs and got up and up to the top. Justin showed the AlphaPets how to make a people pyramid. Then Herbie climbed over their backs and up to the top. "Hooray!" Herbie shouted. "I have the best chair all, a friendship chair." Hooray, Herbie shouted. I have the best chair of all, a friendship chair. The end. The end.